We'll start by importing touchable opacity from React Native. Now we'll render our touchable opacity right next to our text input. Inside of that, we'll render some text, and we'll use two curly braces and say string.from character code and type in 10,003 for a check mark. Now when we go refresh, we can see that we have a check mark rendering next to our text input. Now we'll create a style for our check mark, so we'll say toggle icon to be an object. And we'll say font size of 30 and a color of C's. So now we'll apply that to our text and we say style equals styles.toggle icon. And now when we refresh, we can see that our check mark is larger and gray. However, it's crowding our text input a bit. So let's go down to our text input and we'll add margin left of 16. So now when we refresh, we can see that our text input has some space in between our check mark. Now back up to our touchable opacity, we'll add an onPress handler. And inside of there, we'll say this.props.onToggleAllComplete. Now that we're passing our function down, let's go ahead and go over to our app. So open up that. And now we will create a handle toggleAllComplete function. And we'll go ahead and bind that up here. This.handle toggleAllComplete equals this.handle toggleAllComplete bind this. Also add an allComplete flag to our state with a default of false so that we can keep track of the current completion status and know what we need to set on our item. So now when the button is pressed, this function will be called. So we'll want to toggle our completion status. So we'll say const complete equals not this.state.allComplete. Then we'll say const new items equals this.state.items, and we will map over all of our items. So we'll do an arrow function. And then because we'll just be replacing all of the completion status of our items, we'll say parentheses. Then we'll return a new object. We'll spread our item into the new object, and then we will set our completion status that we just toggled on all of them. Finally, we'll say this.setState, items, and new items. And also we need to toggle our allComplete status. So we'll say allComplete is equal to our new completion status. Now we need to go down to our header and pass in our onToggleAllComplete function, and then say this.handle toggleAllComplete. Because we're not rendering any of our content yet, but we want to confirm that this is actually working, we'll scroll up to our function. We'll then use console.table new items, which is like console.log, but messages out it in a structure format. This will then show that we are toggling our complete to true and or false. So we'll save that. We'll then press Command D, or if you're on Android, Command M to open up the development menu. We'll press Debug.js remotely. We'll toggle over to Chrome, and then when we add test 1, test 2, and press our toggle all complete button, you can see that it echoed out the items that we're adding and toggle them to true. And if we press it again, it toggles them to false.